start, please.
Okay. I'm Ufra. I'm from Kashmir. I'm a peace psychologist by passion and profession. What does that mean? Is basically I work along the lines at the intersectionality of peace building, mental health, psychosocial support, arts, conflict transformation. And I've been doing this work for the past 11 years now, mostly in Kashmir, but also in Myanmar, Afghanistan, and other parts of South Asia. And the crux of it is I really believe peace building is patriarchal. A lot of it's colonized, and I look at decolonised ways of supporting people and communities, especially in conflict zones, counteracting the abnormal or the normalisation of the conflict, and at the same time advocating for more well-being oriented approaches towards peace building, generally, globally, not just in Kashmir.
My name is Zahid Shah. I just flip. That's all I do. So I do parkour for a living, and I have taught more than 3,500 kids over my 11 years of career. I am currently the head coach of Wallers in Kashmir. We have gyms all over the world, trying to do all over the world. Right now we have one in Gaza, we have one in Kashmir, and we're opening one very soon in Kenya.
You're like flexing your biceps?
I am not.
Just letting you know.
This is flexing.
It's the visual representation. I really believe in a holistic approach to well-being, which is also not to really look at the Western way of self-care. Self-care is not just Netflix and buying into the capitalistic understanding of care. I think the communities we come from, especially my self-care also comes from my community care. So it's really intertwined, and in that movement, emotions, all of this is really, really interlinked. How my body feels, how my emotions feel, how I feel here is absolutely interlinked. I really, really believe in the power of movement. And I used to actually use a lot of that in my experiential workshops as well. All my workshops are experiential. I use a lot of art, and movement is really important in that.
So yeah, I just had a session with you yesterday, and I have to say that I'm not just impressed, that my mind was blown. For me personally, coming from a physical background, we do a lot of physical movements, but we do not talk about our feelings. So whenever any of my friend or student is not feeling very good, I would offer him a physical solution. I would give him a massage, which is very physical. But yesterday when you talked about how would you feel if you write yourself a letter, so I just reflected on so many things, the things that I need to incorporate in my classes so I can help, because at the end of the day we just want to be the better people than we were yesterday, and at the end of the day we just want to go home with peace, and we just want to sleep better, because that is the whole idea.
That's the hope.
That's the hope. So I seriously feel the work that you are doing should be incorporated in each and every sector, whether it's physical, whether it's schools. We need more of these things which should be added to everyday general life to make sure that everybody benefits from that.
Thank you. Likewise.
Yeah.
Can you you met each other? Where did you first meet each other?
Here. So it's really funny. Kashmir is a very small society, and we do tend to think everybody knows everybody.
Everybody knows everybody. That's how.
But even when we know each other, we don't really know each other, because we also, because of the ongoing conflict, don't have safe spaces back home to even come together as Kashmiri. So gathering is a privilege back home. And I intentionally do a lot of work around that in terms of gathering communities, in terms of safe spaces and all of that. But if it wasn't for this, I don't think I would have really met him in Kashmir.
Kashmir, where you're not even allowed to express yourself very well. So when you try to gather, it's always suspicious. Why are two people who are from different backgrounds trying to do something which is, even if it's something that is for the betterment of the society, it's still seen as suspicious. So, I love the work that my fellow Kashmiris are doing, but at the same time, it's a privilege for us to gather, and I'm happy that I met my sister here. So, yeah, it's definitely a privilege for us to get together and work.
I think as a Kashmiri, there might be common challenges. For instance, gathering, doing things together, or doing anything in Kashmir in the current context is very, very difficult. But I think as a woman peace builder, then there's another set of challenges that one has to deal with. I think even in the restricted way, the kind of freedom Zahid would have back home, I don't have that. So I have to really plan my work accordingly, being a woman, being very, very mindful and conscious of how I'm dressing up, who I'm meeting, where I'm going, what time do I need to get back home, all of that, because we're talking about a context which is militarized, which is patriarchal, and there's so many, it's a very layered thing, just like a lot of other contexts, especially conflict zones. So the set of challenges in some ways are maybe similar. I think as Kashmiris, like back home, for me to even to do like a workshop is just so exhausting, not because of the actual facilitation of it, but because of the logistics of it. You want to make sure that people go back home safely. You don't exactly know who's sitting in the audience, so there's a lot of like a long procedure beforehand where you want to identify who's coming to these spaces. Is it safe then for people to talk about, even when they're talking about their mental health issues, a lot of it is because of the conflict. So, they're like similar challenges in some ways. And then obviously lack of resources,
Lack of
right?
resources, that is like at the tip of my tongue.
I've been working pro bono for more than a decade in Kashmir, and that's intentional, but that also comes with a lot of challenges. But I think as a woman, then I also face another set of challenges.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I mean, in a society where women are underwhelmed, on the other side, men are overwhelmed. So many responsibilities are thrusted upon us as men, and we're expected to provide, we're expected to do everything, and at the end of the day, we're expected to suck it up and rub some dirt on it. So, coming from a society where we have that, hierarchy of power, where men are the absolute most powerful and women are deemed as, the less powerful, it sometimes is very hard to be a man as well, because we have so much expectations on us, and it's exhausting, to be very honest with you. And again, as Ufra said, there's a lot of lack of resources, lack of funding, and it's just hard.
I think the resolve, even amidst all the chaos, I'm in constant existential crisis, depression, all of that back home. But that resolve, or that tiny hope of still wanting to contribute to the community and being there for each other as a community. Even though I question myself sometimes, the work even doesn't make sense to me, because there's this constant heartbreak, this constant chaos. Things are not really changing in terms of the larger political frameworks. So I keep asking myself, even in terms of mental health or healing and peace building, am I even really contributing? And most of the times I feel like, even in terms of healing, I feel like we're just putting band-aids on wounds that are so deep, and that will probably take generations for us to heal. But I think at the end of it, I still get up. And with all sorts of I have developed a lot of health issues because of the work I'm doing, but then I still get up and I still want to go out there, be out there and do something for my community.
I completely understand what Ufra is trying to say. We as Kashmiris share a lot of pain together, and as John Green said, pain demands to be felt. So we are feeling that through different sort of work that we are doing, and the pain is where we actually come together and try to create something beautiful out of it. And it does come with a toll, for health, mental health, physical health as well. But it's the hope and the pain that we as Kashmiris, even if we belong to any part of the world, and that is what makes us together, that brings us together and creates beautiful things.
You guys are great. You're amazing.
Thank you.